So update on the eye aids. It's gotten worse. It's on both eyes, and I'm now sick. My mucus is green. But that's still not going to stop me from spreading magic virginity. And today we're going to be taking a look at my brother's app. Of course, when I say brother, I mean brother from another mother, in Mustafa Beljarouj, which I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but he is a great friend of mine, and he also happens to be from the motherland of Egypt. So anytime anybody on Facebook has ever accused me of being, I don't know, something like a racist, know that you're talking that way against an African-American male. You should be ashamed of yourself. So here's the app. Now, the app in question is called Phone Words, and it's a great app. I was shown this a couple times when I went to Blackpool. He showed this to me last year. And also, when I went to Magic Live, I saw him nail people with this. And I think it's a fantastic app because it cosplays as your phone app. I hate any application that involves things like, oh, this is just a random number generator, or this happens to be an innocent website and it looks everything but. This looks exactly like your phone. And the effect is great. You mentioned to the participant, think of someone that I wouldn't possibly know. Just think of somebody that means something to you that I couldn't possibly ever know. Now, let me ask you, what are the odds that I happen to know this person? Well, very slim. Why don't we find out? Go ahead and put their name on my phone, check on my contacts, and make sure that I don't actually know them. No? Okay, erase that perfectly. That's gone. Perfect. And that allows you to get a peek as to that participant's name. To me, that's the best part of the fucking app. But that's not even the main event. You then have them think of a word that best represents that particular person. And with the app, not only are you able to get a peek as to the word, but you're also able to get a peek as to the name. The name reveal alone should already be the end of the app. That, to me, I think is great because it's logical. It makes sense. You're looking for the right person. Do I happen to know the person? Well, how else am I going to find out apart from looking at my contacts? Go ahead, check, delete it, make sure it's completely gone. And yet you're able to regurgitate that information later. So think about the possibility of this for pre-show, where you could have the participant input a name and say, I'll tell you what, I'm not getting an impression now, but later on I might call on you. I want you to keep this person in mind. And remember, I don't know this person. I don't know what they look like. I don't know anything about them. This only exists in your mind. And now you have a perfect pre-show. Of course, with this app, also, you get access to the Facebook group, and Mustafa's very, very generous when it comes to his ideas. He's also an absolute genius, and he showed me a bunch of stuff that's just absolutely mind-blowing. He's the one that made that glyph printer, of which I may or may not be up to filleting him for review copy, which in and of itself, it's something that you can do an infinite amount of things with. Now, with this, you also have the ability to use the Peeksmith in order to peek at inputs that they place on the actual phone itself. You also have the ability to integrate the app with Glyph or Inject. So that way you could have them put in a name, delete it, and that name ends up on a piece of paper that's been in your pocket the entire time. Or maybe that name gets integrated into Inject in whatever means you want. And you don't even necessarily have to get the peek on the phone. You could get a peek via audio. If you have some sort of bone conductor, it lets you peek that way. One of the best things that he showed me with the app that goes beyond just peeking at a word or a name is that he would have the participant take this phone, and he would take the participant's phone and he would place in a number. He would then have the participant place a number as well. And he repeated this until he had 4 digits. And of course, when they turn over both phones, all the numbers match. Despite him being completely away from the participant, having no idea what they wrote down, you're still able to match exactly the number that they input. The method is genius, and it's still one of those things that blows my mind because this app goes well and beyond what's capable with just a peek. And I hate fucking magic apps. I hate magic apps. I hate this whole concept of let's randomly generate something using a website that I know. If the app uses something natural, like maybe Wikipedia or some other thing that is normal to an ordinary individual, okay, I accept that. But this is just using your phone. Not to show my own shit, but I also have a project coming up with Peter Turner where we completely dissected the new iOS calculator and all the features that were cut and essentially removed from that, like memory recall. You couldn't do that anymore with the new iOS update. We figured out how to do it. We figured out how to solve that problem with borrowed iPhones, with borrowed phones, and there's even an entire section with evergreen ideas that essentially allow you to do anything with any phone, regardless of the actual OS. But that's in the future. This, I think, is a wonderful app, and Mustafa is a dedicated magician. He's fantastic at what he does, and I'm blessed that I have a connection with him because this, to me, I think is one of the best things you could do. And again, for pre-show, it's invaluable. For live work, it's invaluable. You don't have to have them write anything down physically. They just look up the name. They delete it in whatever way they want. There's no specific way that they have to delete it. And yet you're able to get a full peek as to the name. The app is called Phone Words. It's iOS exclusive, unfortunately, for my Android brothers, but it's still well worth it if you're looking for this style of effect and some of the effects that I talked about. When I was in Vegas, I spent exactly 10 hours gambling with Mustafa, different ways to try to hack the machines by blowing vape on them, by using Hotspot, my brand new trick on it. Nothing worked. We were up, I believe, $200 at some point, and we lost it all. So we bonded over gambling. So I'm gonna leave his website linked down below, Illusionary. He has a lot of products available. He also has this Phone Words app, and he is probably one of my favorite people that I've ever met. Tremendous guy, funny as fuck, and the OG when it comes to this sort of stuff. There's a lot of contention as to who made what, who did what. It's the OG and the best. So I'm dying, man. I'm dying. I'm sick. I have eye AIDS. I don't know where to go from here. I'm still going to be out here grinding it up on Patreon. I'm going to be grinding it up here on YouTube to make up for the fact that I didn't upload essentially for an entire month. The last video that I uploaded was Peter Turner and his friend Steve, and my friend as well, Steve, trying American snacks. And that's it. That's all I uploaded essentially for a month. So I really have to catch up with lost time. And I hope that you forgive me as a PigCake community, because I haven't been here. Daddy hasn't been here. But Daddy's not going anywhere. Even if I go for that cup of milk, you know Daddy's coming back.
I see you again, when 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 I see you again.